Welcome to Arizona Cat's Eye, a news magazine produced by students at the University of Arizona. I'm Sasha Fruhoff.
And I'm Hector Ponce. Arizona was center stage this midterm election. One major rally brought in Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who reached out to young voters on the University of Arizona campus despite the rainy weather. A couple hundred students and Tucson residents huddled together for a rally supporting Democrat David Garcia. Garcia and Sanders hit topics like healthcare, college tuition, and the Trump administration. One message that Sanders repeated throughout the speech: unity.
We are going to come out in large numbers to create a government that works for all people, not just the 1%.
The historic midterm elections happened on November 6th, and while Garcia did not win his race for governor, all across the country, many firsts were voted into office. For example, the 2nd Congressional District race helped flip the U.S. House. Democrat Ann Kirkpatrick defeated Republican Lee Marquez Peterson. In the 3rd Congressional District, Democrat Raul Grijalva kept his seat, defeating Republican Nick Pearson, and Doug Ducey easily sailed into a second term as Arizona's governor.
Those races certainly one to watch, but it was Arizona's open Senate seat that captivated the nation. A first in Arizona, 2 women vying to be the first female to represent Arizona in the U.S. Senate. Voting not final for days after the election, in the end it was Kyrsten Sinema who won the tight race. Sinema served as a U.S. representative for 5 years. She's the first Democrat to represent Arizona in the U.S. Senate in more than 20 years.
Sinema spent a lot of time campaigning with younger voters, and the Pew Research Center found that people between the ages of 18 and 29 make up a significant part of that electorate. But turnout amongst young adults is less than older generations. One activist said that uncertainty about the future is one of the reasons why younger voters avoid Election Day.
Voter apathy amongst young people is very real, and I think one of the biggest issues that we've probably all seen growing up is that we were told as kids, and we are still told now, that we are the ones who are going to have to fix everything.
According to the Center for Information and Research on Civic Learning and Engagement, an estimated 31% of eligible people ages 18 to 29 voted in the 2018 midterms, a higher number than ever before. Political experts hope these numbers improve in the future.
Other news now, Arizona has one of the highest rates of homeless veterans in the country. That's according to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. I learned more about what's being done to support this growing population.
This is Fred Smith, a homeless veteran. Smith lives at Camp Bravo in Tucson, where vets like him can get food, shelter, and support. The 77-year-old says he's lived on the streets since he was a teenager.
This place has changed my life. It made me have hope, given me will to go on.
In Arizona, there are thousands just like Smith. The camp's administrator, Addie Mendonza, says it's hard for soldiers to transition from active duty to veteran status.
I say we need help. We do.
And once you live in the military life, it's hard sometimes to come out and adapt to the civilian life. And that's, when they don't have the help that they need, they kind of fall through the cracks.
Mendonza says there are a lot of homeless vets in Arizona because of the weather.
It's one of the very few states where you can live outside all year long.
Camp Bravo isn't the only organization working to help vets in Arizona. A shelter in Phoenix is also making a difference.
Here at Central Arizona Shelter Services, there are over 470 beds for homeless individuals to stay overnight. In the past year, CAS has helped over 549 homeless veterans.
This past year, CAS lost a $500,000 VA federal grant. Because of this, the shelter will be forced to shut down its veterans program. The veterans program manager, Kenneth Ray, says the shelter will struggle as a result.
Oh, it's a big chunk of money for CAS, for the services that they can provide here. They did our program for our veterans was phenomenal.
CAS is working to place veterans who are currently in the program into permanent housing.
Cass has had the grant since 2007. The manager says he plans to reapply next year.
Representing more than 100 countries, the University of Arizona had nearly 4,000 international students in the 2017 through 2018 school year. Menzi Wang, a U of A student, left her small town in China and flew nearly 14 hours for the American education system. Though many international students say they find it difficult to cope with the language barrier, the cultural and weather differences, students we spoke with say this is their home away from home.
This university is a city. It's like city. You can, you have a bookmark. You can buy things you want. You can buy dress. You can eat. You have residence to sleep. You can park. It's a city.
Over the past 10 years, the U of A has nearly doubled its international student population, with roughly 2,300 in 2007 to approximately 4,000 today.
Along with foreign exchange students, first-generation students are also enrolling at a faster pace. But that's not necessarily reflected in graduation rates. Here's a look at what schools are doing to improve those numbers.
The college process can be overwhelming, and those being the first in their family to go to college can present different challenges. Jose Rodas is a graduate student at the U of A studying family studies and human development, and says that finances and a social structure known as familism can affect students.
It's this collectivistic view that you help each other, you bond, right? What do? Behaviors and emotions that will tie it with your family.
Familism is very high in Latino cultures and can have both a positive and negative impact on students.
It could be tough on them, you know, especially like when your parent, you can be a source of income for your family. Yes, I want you to get educated, but we got bills to pay.
Luis Valenzuela is a first-generation college student and says that his family supports him furthering his education.
Right now I'm just primarily focused on being a student, getting my career done, and getting my diploma.
Vanessa Arellano is head of Trio Upward Bound, a program that works with high school students and helps make college a possibility.
From the moment that the parent and the student comes in, we let them know that it is an option, and we do everything that we can in terms of helping them apply for financial aid.
In his second year of school, Luis is studying culinary arts and strives to finish school.
As being the first gen of my family to go to college, I have the opportunity in order to go more out there than my parents were able to. I got more opportunities than they had, and I feel like I probably shouldn't pass up on it.
Like Luis, graduation is the goal, with support from teachers and family that could soon be a reality. For Arizona Cat's Eye, I'm Hector Ponce.
The university is building an indoor practice facility to help draw in more student athletes, and completion is around the corner. Construction on the indoor sports center for U of A athletics has made advancements since construction began in April of 2018. Crews installed the steel beams for the facility's walls and roof, giving U of A athletes and fans a sense of the future. The building will feature a 90-yard football field with one end zone and serve as a training facility for all UA sports, with a focus on football, soccer, and year-round sports. Fans can also enjoy tailgating in the facility. It's expected to open in January 2019.
Next up, how you can help the environment.
And our climate possibly putting pets at risk. Those stories and more when Arizona Cat's Eye returns.
In Arizona Cat's Eye, students at the University of Arizona learn skills that will benefit them in their future careers.
I would say that I learned how to be more comfortable on camera and kind of learned what to do and what not to do.
Deadlines. Call people early, contact people early.
I think I've grown a lot. I learned how to do more stories, not based on events, but more like stories based on people.
I know there's so many last minute cancellations of interviews or last minute things that just flop, and then you're just like, what can I do? So you just have to figure something out, and with this class, it's like you're able to learn that.
I feel confident enough to be able to go into a workplace and have the basic knowledge of how a newsroom works.
I want to produce, so that's just writing scripts and putting together shows, and I think being that aspect that there's a role here that I can learn, just besides being a multimedia journalist, you can go beyond that.
Going into the job market, I think if you're able to say, I was using this equipment, using this editing software, I think that's a huge advantage.
After these 4 years, we don't know where we're gonna go. We could be all around the United States. So I just think that it's a good end to the 4 years we had together.
Welcome back. Some of your dog's favorite activities could cost them their health and your money. Arizona Cat's Eye reporter Carson Courier has more on how valley fever infects dogs in the desert.
Here at Pima Animal Care Center, a dog with valley fever is a common occurrence.
We have a lot of dogs here. I see a valley fever case every single day.
Valley fever expert Christine Davis says the disease grows in the soil and dogs become infected from inhaling the bacteria. Dogs are at a high risk because they sniff, run, and dig. Experts say if your dog is outside, the disease is unavoidable, and symptoms of the disease will occur around 3 weeks after exposure. Signs of valley fever are limp walking, coughing, and high fevers. Dogs are treated with antifungal pills, but the medicine is pricey and treatment can last a lifetime. Valley fever expert Christine Davis knows because her 2 dogs, Lizzie and Ollie, both have valley fever. Davis adopted Ollie because his previous owners couldn't afford to pay for his valley fever medicine.
I pay probably about $1 a day, and that's for the compounded medication. It would be better to use the actual name brand or generic drug, but that most people would be priced right out of that. For a large dog, that could be hundreds of dollars a month.
Valley fever is extremely common in southern Arizona, but what Pima Animal Care Center wants you to know is that once a dog is treated, they can still live a happy and healthy life.
It's an ailment that they'll have for the rest of their life, but it's treatable and manageable, and all they need is the pills. So
the disease is a fact of life for dogs in the desert, but one that's manageable with proper care. For Arizona Cat's Eye, I'm Carson Courier.
20% seems low, but when it comes to contamination rates and recycling, that's significant. The majority of people in Tucson, or about 90% of the population, recycle, and that's good. But according to Tucson's Environmental and General Services Department, not everyone is doing it correctly. Some of the biggest pollutants in recycling are diapers, food waste, and plastic grocery bags. Then there are good things to recycle that the city would like to see more of, like cardboard, plastic, and aluminum. And aluminum actually has the most value when recycled. On average, not recycling correctly costs the city $300,000.
In other news, this year, Tucson celebrates an event 30 years in the making. The annual AIDS Walk continues to raise money in hopes of finding a cure for the deadly disease.
3, 2, 1, go!
The AIDS Walk is the oldest walk hosted in downtown Tucson. Among the participants is Jeffrey Scott Brown. He's lived with AIDS since 1991 and recognizes the improvements made in the last 30 years.
Many of us are living longer because of the meds, because of the better treatment. Getting treatment.
Experts say outside of treating AIDS, creating a more accepting society is needed in order to educate the community and keep the virus from spreading.
Here at the University of Arizona, people are constantly on the move. Students say balancing obligations can be difficult and winding down isn't easy. The National Sleep Foundation says a lack of sleep is affecting the United States as a whole. They say adults should get 7 to 9 hours of sleep, while teenagers should get 8 to 10 hours. Ashley Friede, University of Arizona Junior, has always had a busy schedule and says that a lack of sleep affects her mood.
I usually get maybe like a consistent amount of sleep, so like that 6-ish, like around there, like hours of sleep. But if I start to get less than that on a consistent basis, then I'm not super fun to be around. I'm a little grumpy.
Experts say not sleeping enough can cause weight gain, illness, and stunt childhood growth and development.
For some, finding affordable health care in Arizona can be difficult. In fact, 1.7 million people in Arizona are on the state's low-cost healthcare system, known as Medicaid. But for the last 2 decades, a clinic in Tucson has worked to help make healthcare affordable. Arizona Cat's Eye reporter Olivia Jackson has more.
What is usually a moment of joy quickly turned into one of panic after Eloa Ibarra and her husband Hector discovered they were pregnant.
Te ayudan en todo, sin ningún costo.
Eloa is one of about 2,500 patients seen yearly at the UA Mobile Health, a University of Arizona program that provides free and affordable health care to southern Arizona.
There's not a lot of options to look.
Since 1976, an RV like this one fills up on medical supplies and gives low cost to free health care. Yes, free. It's paid for by donations from Banner Health, community members, and foundations like the Ortiz Endowment, a permanent sponsorship fund started in 2000.
This is a blessing.
Since 2003, the prenatal health care gave care to 225 uninsured women. Their patients deliver at Banner Health, Most of them qualify for emergency Medicaid, but those who do not, the clinic and hospital will work together with them to make a payment plan. And if this clinic did not exist?
Well, I don't know, to tell you the truth.
With just a couple minutes spent on the internet, he was able to find UA Mobile Health and turn a time of fear and uncertainty into hope.
Healthcare is really for all, and we can provide these services for individuals and communities regardless of ability to pay and regardless of immigration status or other barriers to care that folks have.
Dr. Grivosha is the medical director for UA Mobile Health. The family physician is in charge of the prenatal clinic, like this one here at Los Ranchitos Elementary School. And it's inside this RV where the Ibarras heard their baby's heartbeat for the first time. That sound reassuring them their little one is in the right hands. Reporting for Arizona Cat's Eye, I'm Olivia Jackson.
And after this break, how music can improve health for a group of people.
That's when Arizona Cat's Eye returns.
For Arizona Cat's Eye.
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 Reporting to you for Arizona Cat's Eye.
For Arizona Cat's Eye.
For our last story, new research shows that music can help children with autism, and one Tucson school is making note of it. This is Benny, a 4-year-old with Down syndrome. Benny started music lessons at the Schoolhouse of Rock 3 months ago. The school's founder, Sarah Fire, says that Benny is a born performer.
Benny is a punk rocker. Like, in his soul, he wants to scream and play really loud guitar. And he's 4. No one could have taught him that. According to Fire, music gives children on the spectrum a new way to communicate. When I started teaching kids on the autism spectrum, I didn't expect it to be this life-changing, like, black and white difference at all.
But, to Fire's surprise, it was.
We had some kids that started taking lessons, and the parents would come in and say, our lives are totally different. His behavior is 100% better.
Benny's mother, Tamar Pixley Smith, says that her preschooler has improved significantly after just 3 months of lessons.
It's definitely worthwhile on a developmental level, but also just on a delightful level. As a parent, I feel like it's given me a different way to communicate with my son.
Certified music therapist Sierra Norris says the neurological effects of music cannot be denied.
Music is a stimulus that lights up more of the brain than any other stimulus.
For a student like Benny, music gives him the opportunity to reach his full potential.
I don't really see a limit to what he's capable of.
In Arizona, it's estimated that 1 in 64 children have autism. The Schoolhouse of Rock is gaining ground as an organization that helps children on the spectrum. They're moving their location to a larger location at the end of the month to continue supporting the needs of Tucson children.
It looks like Benny's going to be a real rock star in the future.
I know, right? I would definitely buy tickets to one of Benny's concerts.
That's all for Arizona Cat's Eye.
Thanks for watching.